Podnutz Daily for July 22nd, 2008. First thing I want to talk about is a program that I downloaded today. Never used it. I may have used it once before in the past. I can't fully remember. It's called the Windows Installer Cleanup Utility. I had this computer and I was trying to install Adobe Reader 8 or 9, Adobe Reader 9, which is the newest version. And this program would not let me install Adobe Reader 9 because it said Adobe Reader 7 was installed. Yet I couldn't find anywhere where Adobe Reader 7 was installed. And I think it was just half installed, half uninstalled, and was just sitting there sticking up the installation of Adobe Reader 9. Well, there's a little utility from Microsoft called the Windows Installer Cleanup Utility. You could just Google that. I don't know the exact URL. And the Windows Installer Cleanup Utility will go in and show you all the programs that are installed or half installed and disable that program, uninstall, and uninstall every part of it. So I ran that, and I saw that some Adobe programs were installed. I used the Installer Cleanup Utility to get rid of all the Adobe stuff, and then I installed the Adobe Reader, and it went in fine. Now, he had Acrobat, and I didn't want to lose Acrobat for him, so I saved Acrobat. I just uninstalled the Adobe Reader and the Update Utility and that kind of thing. After all that junk was gone, it did install the Adobe Reader 9. Now, the one thing that was sticking it is a spell checker or dictionary, something like that, that gets installed with Adobe Reader. I guess it was installed with the Adobe Reader 7. When I tried to install Adobe Reader 9, it went looking for that file and was trying to get it from the Adobe 7 installation. So that was actually separate in the list on the Windows installer. It was called Spell Check or Spell Dictionary or something like that. It was a separate program, and that was actually sticking the works as well. So that wasn't grouped with the Adobe stuff. It was just called like Spell Dictionary for Reader 7 or something like that. So if you're having problems with Adobe 9, check that out. Another problem with this computer, it was an HP desktop, is that they had it was an English family, or they spoke English, American family speaking English, but they had somebody in the family who spoke Japanese and converted the computer to Japanese, to read Japanese and display Japanese language. So they got rid of the Japanese language for the most part, but there were some things in the computer still that were written in Japanese. Like when you opened time and date and clicked on the clock and opened up the calendar, it was still reading Japanese. Also, when you tried to install iTunes, for example, that was all the installer was all in Japanese. So the way to make sure the whole computer is in English is go into the control panel, go to Regions and Language, and adjust the settings there for whatever language you want to set it to. That was the reason why some things were in Japanese and some things weren't. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is Service Pack 2. Now, not Service Pack 3, Service Pack 2. When I do a reinstallation on a customer's computer, I always want to make sure that I get Service Pack 2 installed. A lot of times, if their computer's a little older, their install disk is only up to Service Pack 1. You can tell from a quick glance if the computer has Service Pack 1 or 2 installed by the color of the window bars in the Windows boot up screen. Here's the thing. If you have Windows XP Home Edition before Service Pack 2, the boot up screen will have a green bar scrolling across. If you have Windows XP Professional, whether you have Service Pack 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. The scroll bar that scrolls across will be blue. Now, if you install Service Pack 2 on Home Edition, where the bar was previously green, it will turn to blue. So the only instance where the bar will be green is if you have Home Edition with Service Pack 1 installed, not Service Pack 2. But a lot of computers come prepackaged with Home Edition, so if you see the green bar, instantly is like a little indicator little flag should go up in your head saying, I need to install Service Pack 2, just to make sure the computer is updated. Had a guy come in with an iMac. It was a G4 iMac, and he wanted Tiger installed on it. Most G4s can run Tiger just fine. Just make sure it has enough RAM and processor speed. But in particular, though, I wanted to mention one thing. See, the iMac did not have a DVD drive. It just had a CD drive. And he wanted to install Tiger, OS 10 Tiger, and that was only on a DVD. So he went out and bought at Micro Center, the store I buy all my parts at, a Lacie DVD writer. Now, he brought it in. He said, I bought this DVD writer. It was $130. He's like, did I get ripped off? And I shook my head, yes. Because though it was a Firewire external writer, inside the Lacie case was a DVD drive I just bought for $30. And I could have bought an external housing for that for like another $30. Maybe Firewire might have cost me $50. Not sure. But it could have saved I could have paid about half of what he paid for that. So even though it is a Lacie and it has a metal case, the actual drive that was in there was a Samsung. It was the same drive I bought at Micro Center and one aisle over for $30 outside of the external case. So another strike, I think, for Lacie. Had another one time I opened up a Lacie external hard drive and there was a Mac store inside. So with Lacie, that's L-A-C-I-E. Some people say Lacie. You're paying for the case. You're paying for the external case. Don't think you're getting a top quality drive inside the case. Another thing we did today was built a system for somebody. And I have in my office laying around about 10 AMD Athlon chips that I'm just dying to get rid of. He was using this computer just for backing up purposes, so he didn't need a real powerful system. So I wanted to use some of or at least get rid of one of these Athlon chips. Now, the Athlon XPs are socket A, which is also socket 462, and it's not terribly easy to find a motherboard that has them anymore. But I actually used my Amazon Prime account, and I found a socket A motherboard on Amazon Prime. It wasn't ATX, it was just ATX, and it was only $50. I got it overnighted for $4 more because of the Amazon Prime. So for $54, I got overnighted a motherboard that was socket A that I could use with these chips. Anyway, we put the whole system together, put a gig of RAM in, put a small hard drive in. I used a Xeon 450 watt power supply. So Luke Roy, you might be happy to hear that. Went back to the good old Xeon. And a cheap case. Anyway, we put everything together perfectly, fired up the computer, no video. Now, it was the motherboard didn't have internal video, so we had to put a video card in. And the video card was the AGP. So we just put an AGP card in. Powered it on with the AGP card, plugged the monitor in, no video. So we replaced the AGP video card with another video card, still no video, which left us kind of sitting there scratching our heads. My dad said, well, maybe one of the processors you have was bad. So we replaced the processor and we got video. So it's not always the video card when you don't get video.